Is it counting 1, 2, 3? Okay, so yeah. Actually, what I want to talk about is actually about this thing they call forces. Most of the time, how can I say this thing? Especially in physics, you you learn some things about force. It has a sort of a definition, right? But most of the time, when we say force, it means like there's an impact. Like if I hit the table, something is applying a pressure on something. That's what force is. So most of the time, people thought that force, the word force, came from science. But the truth is that the word force actually came from something that is not science at all. Like many years ago, people discovered what these things, the so-called force, we don't know how many years, thousands of years ago, through something that is very unseen, things that are not known. It's like a power from somewhere else. We can use the word that people use today, they will say spiritual. So I wanted to talk about spiritual, but not in the sense of, oh, spiritual, because people have used that word loosely. Anybody just say they are spiritual. Someone is reading poem, call himself spiritual. Or is just kneeling down and saying, like yoga is spiritual. Is that what they call spiritual? Spiritual means something that is of the spirit. So it means it is not known. It can't be seen. Maybe it can be experienced, but there's no sense of touch to it. If it is spiritual, it means I can't touch it. I can't hold it. So we can look at something like a breeze blowing, air is blowing, wind is blowing. We can't see wind, we can't even hold wind, but we can feel it. Okay? So there's a physical impact of something that is not seen. And that's exactly what they call force. The word force, maybe another time I can try to see if I can find a definition from the origin of the word force. But force is just like that. Like a wind blowing, and then there's a physical impact. Even though we cannot see what is causing the physical impact. But over the years, we have been talking about force in physics and several other scientific definitions. So we don't even know what force is actually. And force is actually something that is existing that we cannot really see. And it has impact in the physical. Our behavior can attract some forces to us. The words we speak can attract forces to us. And a lot of people have made too many mistakes in life. They say the wrong things. They have attracted negative forces into their life. Some people they have joined the wrong set of groups, friends. You can even use the word family too, because family too can even put you in the wrong path in life. We've attracted too many wrong forces, and some of us don't even care, while some of us begin to care when things start going wrong. Not jumping from here and there and be looking for help. God help me. Satan help me. Father help me. Mother help me. Sister, brother, uncle help me. Boy help me. Girl help me. Water help me. Wind help me. Sun help me. Moon help. But we don't know everything in life can be prevented. Anything in life can be prevented. You can prevent a baby from being born by finding a way to terminate the pregnancy. You can prevent a woman from getting pregnant by making sure she doesn't have any interaction with a man. People will not just wake up one day and their stomach is big and baby is growing. It's not going to happen. If there is no sexual interaction, you understand? Those are part of forces in life. So forces can be physical and forces can be not physical. I don't want to use the word spiritual. Because when we start saying spiritual now, some people are hearing the word as if it has to do with reading poem of one man that they call a spiritual man. or singing one song they call spiritual song. We can look at it in the sense of churches, and when somebody is on the altar or the podium with a microphone and is singing one song about hallelujah and Jesus, and you see the person is singing spiritual song, or maybe the person is saying rakasha kababu bora da da da, you're like, oh, he's spiritual. I've had my own experience of this before. I was in a church many years back. I was a bit younger, and I was tagged as being less spiritual just because I don't do show off of those things they call spiritual. Whereas some of those people in my circle at that time within that church, I don't want to be too specific so that people will not begin to now be saying, hey, I think we know who is talking about what there. So those ones, just because they used to do some funny show when they give them microphone to spray or to just say something, they want to quote one passage of the Bible, they want to put something like a prayer, they want to put one small sermon. They ask you to come and collect offering. You are preaching and opening Bible. Pastor have done his own sermon. You want to do another sermon again. And they pray, they put small tongues, inside what they are praying, and they call them spiritual. Just because I don't do that, they say I wasn't spiritual. But me, and a few of us, we know they were fake. I was even kind of disappointed a bit that my pastor, who happens to be a very respectable man of God, I know him to be a man that I believe has the calling of God, because when he's talking, he's teaching you, he prays for people see results, that he didn't spot that. So somehow I later discovered that there are explanations to those things. We don't say because he didn't spot that, it means he's not a spiritual man of God. He is. If he is still, I can say maybe he was at that time, but he is. I know. I believe so. But he didn't spot that. Just because, when we put ourselves in position of all these so-called spiritual, we don't know sometimes we are attracting some forces. Imagine now I call myself a medical doctor and I dress like a doctor, and somebody is dying somewhere, and they ask, who do you think they will come and drag to come and help the dying person? Is the man that dressed like a doctor. You want putting stethoscope on his neck and he's dressing like a doctor. He look like a doctor. He's talking like a doctor. But they didn't know the guy is just an actor acting a movie somewhere. And someone is dying. They will go and drag the actor. But the actor has not. In fact, he has never entered any. He didn't even finish his high school, so he can never be a doctor. Excuse me, but because of appearance, we can put up appearance and make claims, but will cause a lot of damage, because that person that was dying will die, because people will put their trust on somebody that is putting up appearance. In life, when you go and show if you put up certain appearance, you will attract some forces to you. There was a day I was advising some people. I told them, when you are praying, be very careful. Sometimes pray quietly, communicate with God. Even when you are not praying aloud, when you are praying within your mind, you are sending signals into the atmosphere. If there are some spirits that are against what you're doing, they will pick your signals. But when they see that you are just talking to God to help you with your own life, you don't pose a threat to them, so they will leave you alone. But no, some of you don't even know how to pray very well, but you are saying, demon, I cast you out. Demon that is just sitting in his own corner, in one corner, so he doesn't have any business with you. He's looking for his own food to eat. You are not saying you want to cast him. We'll be like, wait, who is that one casting me? You will now come closer to check. Does this one belong to Angel Gabriel, Angel Raphael? If you now notice that you don't even belong to anyone, they will slap your face anyhow. I'm just trying to make it like a joke, but this thing is actually a very serious thing. Forces, there are a lot of forces in life, and even though we are likely never going to feel any impact of these forces or experience them, we need to be aware that they exist. The breeze, the wind is a perfect explanation to what forces are. You can feel their impact physically, but you won't be able to get hold of them. So for you to be able to get hold of forces, you have to be a force yourself too. And becoming a force, you are either being born a force, and then you develop that being born ability of a force, so that you can, because that's what we call it. I use a description of a doctor. You have to be qualified to be able to handle certain things in life. Even though you are born a force, you have to grow up and develop the skill. Being a Christian, or the story of Jesus is the only story in my head. Okay, I have other stories, but the only one I still hold on to is the story of Jesus. Why is it that Jesus did not start his life, his work as Jesus, as Messiah, or as Savior of the world, and many other things that we believe he is, as a baby? He didn't start it as a baby. He didn't even start it at age 10 or 12 or 25. He waited to 30 years of age because he has to be fully mature and developed. His mind must be fully developed. He must be ready to face realities of life. You know, we don't know a lot that happens in his life before that age, but who knows? Maybe he had experienced life. Some of his friends have disappointed him. He had seen the taste of life. Maybe he was trying to get married and the girl married somebody else. Who knows? It might be the reason why he didn't even get married. you know? Okay, some people be like, hey, why are you talking about Jesus like that? You don't know me, my relationship with me and Jesus. So it's okay with me saying that. I'm just trying to make it sound funny. But the truth is that life will in itself, put us in the right path to be able to do what is right. But the problem most of us don't know is that the problems we don't know that we are causing is that we are not careful enough to watch our life, our steps, our words, the way we think, the things we say. We just do things the way we like, especially some people when they start having some small money, their shoulder will become big like this. They think they can do anything they like. They can talk to anybody anyhow. No offense to women, ladies, but it's so common among them when they have one boy that is giving them money. Maybe the guy has Range Rover or Lamborghini. I like Lamborghini, I know. So I always like to use Lamborghini as my example. She'll be so proud. Every other boy is nonsense to her because her boy has Lamborghini now. So who are you? Or maybe the guy used to give her what's that in the let me not start sounding like someone that don't believe in God now. So let's just hold it there. So let's just use Lamborghini as an example. Lamborghini is good enough. She'll be so proud that she wants to, like every other person that doesn't have something closer. You know, so such can affect people's behavior. What you have position, power, authority. Those things can really it can affect the way you think, the way you relate with people. And we don't know, we could be attracting negative forces into our life. And these negative forces can cause a lot of havoc in our life. But the problem about these forces I'm talking about is that the truth is that we don't know what they are. We don't know where they are. We don't know who they are. We don't know how they do whatever they do. Let us not be lying to ourselves. This age now, we should stop all these, pray 5 million times a day. You can destroy forces. Check it very well. You don't just wake up one day and become a medical doctor. You have to go through process of life. You have to go through training, serious one. Even expert doctors that are won award, sometimes they are doing surgery and they make mistakes and the person is dying in front of them. So you don't go and be saying that, oh, I prayed, I fasted. You should pray and fast. It's good. When you are doing that, you are doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for God. God does not need to eat your prayer. God can exist by himself without us. So whatever we do is to help ourselves. If I'm praying 1 million times a day, I'm helping myself. I'm building up my own life, building up myself so that I don't, because that's what you should be doing, that those forces would not just be, they will not see you as biscuits that they can just eat anyhow. Because I ate biscuit few minutes ago now. I just pick it up and I began to bite it. The biscuit cannot complain that, why are you biting me? But can I pick up a stone and eat the stone like biscuits like that? You should know that there is a content of a material, and that content determines what the thing is meant to do. If you are not a stone, if you are biscuits, don't be behaving like stone. You understand? Because if you are biscuits, just go and hide yourself inside one wrapper and hide yourself somewhere that nobody can be able to touch and bite you. But if you are stone, okay, you can put yourself somewhere, but you should also know that iron can break stone. There are big armor they call sledgehammer. So because you are stone does not mean that you are powerful. There are some other things that are much more powerful than you that can break you into pieces. And that can happen. Okay, iron too can begin to claim that it's heavy. There are other things like what's this thing called now? I've forgotten that kind of metal. The metal is much more stronger than normal iron. It is vanadium. Yes, vanadium steel is much more stronger than what normal iron. So vanadium steel can break iron, because if you work in workshops or where they work with machines, there's those tools they use for drilling metals or cutting metals. Most of them are vanadium. And there are some other materials that are even much more stronger than vanadium. But there's something that is much more stronger than all of them is fire. Put metal in fire, after a certain degree, the metal will start melting. Okay? But there's one funny thing. Metal can break stone, right? Because it's much more stronger than, so the impact of metal on stone is much more stronger. The stone cannot break metal. The impact of the stone on the metal cannot make the metal to break. But something is funny. Fire can what? Melt metal, but fire cannot melt stone. So I'm just trying to see if I can bring up an explanation that there's a content of your person that has been designed by God, by nature, by time, So he puts you at a certain position in existence. So you don't just wake up one day because you see one pastor, he said he used to pray 10 hours every day, and that's how he used to connect with God. You are not doing 10 hours every day. Maybe you just need 1 hour. Or maybe you need what? 24 hours. You understand? Maybe you even need 72 hours to be able to even begin to even, when you want to make a phone call, you have to dial number, right? Maybe 72 hours is the first number. You know how many numbers you dial when you want to call somebody? Number is like maybe it's at least 10 digits. Maybe before you can dial one digit, you need 72 hours of prayer. Whereas that pastor, his own 10 hours has dialed what? 3 different phone numbers. He has dialed God number, dialed Jesus, and dialed Holy Spirit at the same time with this 10 hours. You need 72 hours to even dial just one digit from the number of one number alone. And you want to now be using 10 hours to claim that you can also connect. If you're not very careful, you've not even started making your dial. Your device is not even connected yet. If you're not very careful, it is Satan that will start responding to you. To end this thing, I remember that I read a book about what must have happened between Cain and Abel, which is an allegory. It's not supposed to be a true story, but it made sense. In the story, they said that some of you that have been reading the book of Enoch must have seen it. I'm not saying you should go and read the book of Enoch. The book is not good. If you're a Christian, don't try it, please. Except you're one of those people that think knowledge is something that you can go and be grabbing anyhow. It's none of my business. I'm just telling you, if you're a Christian, stay away from the book of Enoch. So this story says that Cain didn't just kill Abel because he hated Abel. It says something happened between them that was not recorded. And the thing was that because their father did something very terrible, so they lost direct connection with God. So they're always trying to take their father. You told us about your father. He created everywhere. We want to talk to him. So you just told them that, okay, the thing is that, in fact, for the past few days now, he doesn't talk to me. I've been trying to reach him. He doesn't even talk to me at all. But this is what I think should be doing that I used to do. He taught them how to give, to make sacrifices, to give offering. Okay? Now something began to happen. Abel began to get some connection, and Cain wasn't getting it. And Cain was like, what's going on? How come I'm not getting connection? And one day, something began to make Cain think Abel was not connecting to what? God. He thought Abel was connecting to what? The serpent. So he tried to stop him from, he's trying to tell him, my guy, I don't think the person that is talking to you, responding to you when you are giving offering is God. Said it's like he's a serpent. But, Abel was like, are you now getting jealous? And the guy was like, what's wrong? So they began to fight. And then he picked up what? He saw the bone of one animal there. And boom, that's how the brother died. So he was afraid and he felt like, oh my God, I killed my brother. So he didn't know what to do. He was thinking he can just lie that, blah, blah, blah. It happens. It can happen between children when it's, if you have siblings, you will know these things. You'll be fighting and somebody will get wounded. And you know that if your mom or your dad get to know what happened, they will kill the two of you, even though you won't die, but they will beat you. So what do? You try to create a lie. You understand? Okay, let's lie to mommy that we were just trying to cut apple and then the knife fell and cut your hand. You're like, no, mommy will not, because they know they would beat the two of. But this case was funny. One of them died. You understand? I'm not trying to defend Cain. The guy was a terrible guy. I don't know. How would you kill your brother? Even if, let's leave that story. I'm just trying to say that sometimes in this life, when you think you are what? Communicating to God. If you think that you are talking to God, there are some forces that are between your connection to the divine. There are other forces between that connection. And those forces can come in between and deceive you. If you are trying to tell me where did I find this from, look at the serpents. If God every day used to come to the Garden of Eden to discuss with these two people he just created, his two children, they are the only one, let's assume they are the only one on earth at that time. And God used to come to them and talk to them. Right? So you are telling me they don't enjoy discussion with them and God. And now one snake is now telling them something against what God used to talk to them. And they are listening to the snake. So you are now telling me they couldn't tell the snake, my friend, shut up. That is coming very soon. We'll confirm from him. Right? There are forces in between you and the divine connection you are looking for. Those forces will interfere. They will interact with you before you get to that connection. So if you don't know the content of your person, you will pick up the wrong things and that could be the end of it. A lot of people have started church ministry, religious ministry in this by connecting to some wrong forces. That's why you hear them saying something very contrary to what you have been taught. They will tell you Jesus and Paul are not in good terms. I myself have said something funny. I said Peter and Paul were not good friends. I've said that before because I read through the Bible. I thought Paul was saying something indirectly to Peter. But recently I began to notice that, wait, I was wrong. I was completely wrong. Not that they didn't have misunderstanding, okay? But that point that I thought he was referring to Peter, I later realized I wasn't referring to Peter. He was referring to some Jews. So I indirectly thought it must have been what? Peter. But maybe one day, if I have time, I will do a recording of this so that I can put it in record that, I said this at a time, even though no one heard me when I said it. So I can say it open that, I've said something like this before, but this was my mistake, and show it where I found how I made the mistakes, because that's how it is in life. By the time I made that statement claiming that Peter and Paul were not in good terms, they were not friends, they didn't agree with each other, I must have attracted some forces, negative forces into my own life too. But how to cancel those things is that when you discover the right thing, correct them immediately. Don't now say it doesn't even matter. No one had me when I said it. You know, the forces had you. They had record of what you have said. Okay? Now one day you now be asking God for something. And God will be like, I've given you what you're asking for. But you cannot even hear God is telling you he has given you because there are some forces in between that have blocked your connection. You will not even know. You just pray, Father God, Lord, you are praying 1 million times. God is telling you, I've given you. But you can't hear. Probably because there's no voice that will come and tell you. But if God is responding to you, there will be signs, instant signs. I'm telling you, I've seen these things before, that I will be sitting somewhere and I'll be worried about something. And then few minutes later, I will see people trying to give me what to solve my worry. So it shows that there are things in nature that respond to us immediately. One happened recently. I was let me just not say that one because I can't even remember clearly.